And then there's Ed Miliband,
yes.
the Labour leader. Now, he's the leader of the opposition, a man who looks like he's going to be Prime Minister, or not?
Well, I don't know what the poll's saying specifically. I don't think he looks like he's going to be Prime Minister. I think that's the issue. A lot of focus when it comes to Ed Miliband is around his level of awkwardness. I don't think, I mean, the classic phrase, I don't think he's ready for prime time is a very good expression, really, for Ed Miliband. There's something about...
But he's been in there for 5 years. He's been in prime time for 5 years.
Yeah, I don't think he's put in the work, really. When he speaks, for me, when he speaks, it's overly deliberate. It's like he's been overcoached. I think in Macbeth, it's methinks the lady doth protest too much.
Right.
I think he works too hard to be clear and decisive. And I don't think it's something that sits that well with him. He's not particularly good either at the photo op. I simply feel he's a very smart guy, clearly a very smart guy. I think if you met him personally, you'd warm to him. He's clearly a very empathetic man. But there is this, I think, this feeling as a voter that you want your leader, there is, I don't know if there's a romantic version of what a leader should be, but there is this idea that the leader is comfortable being in charge. The leader exemplifies those alpha qualities. And Ed Miliband physically doesn't seem to exhibit those.
So how can you tell that from his behaviours? What sort of things is he doing that makes you realise that he's doing this wrong, that it's not going to have just a negative effect on you, but on lots of people who are watching him?
Well, I think he doesn't have the variety. I've seen several occasions where he's been asked a question and he doesn't answer the question. He answers it with a pre-prepared question. And then sometimes when they ask him the question again, he'll answer it with the pre-prepared question. So he's been packaged, I feel. I think there was a famous moment in 92 or 87 or one of those elections when someone said, look, just let Neil Kinnock be Neil Kinnock, you know, because he's a passionate man who believes very, very passionately about these certain things. And I think Ed Miliband is trying to do the right thing, but being advised poorly.
And if you had to pin down one particular gesture or habit that Ed Miliband has, a bad habit maybe, what would it be?
It's sort of the jutting forward when he speaks. Again, it's just too much. I think if he sat back and enjoyed what he was talking about a bit more, which I think people like Clegg, for example, are better at.
How does that affect the viewer who sees this head jab?
It's just simply too repetitive. I mean, we understand politicians get passionate about things, but it seems slightly, to me, it seems slightly manufactured. It's like this. This is a classic gesture that people use. Some people say Bill Clinton made this up. It's basically pointing without pointing. But it's a bit silly. And when people see it, they can see that politicians are using it for a particular effect. But it's not, I wouldn't do this if I was having dinner with someone trying to explain a point. And so politicians shouldn't do it either. It should be probably an open palm gesture that makes more sense.
Okay. And the head jab is just another part of that.
Yeah, but he's nervous and the adrenaline's pumping and he's trying to get his point across because he does believe passionately in what he's doing.
And that's the problem, isn't it? That we don't want a Prime Minister who's nervous.
Well, we'd prefer it if he wasn't nervous
right.
Or she wasn't nervous. And I think, one of the reasons Mrs. Thatcher and Tony Blair did so well is they appeared to be very much in control and they managed their nerves extremely well. Of course they were nervous, but they managed it well.
But you're saying that viewers and listeners, that they're picking up on this, they're making a connection between these subconscious behaviours and then they're making a judgment about the person and the party.
Well, I think it's the viewers have unconscious reactions to these behaviours. I mean, the great quote by Jeff Bezos from Amazon said that your personal brand is what other people say about you when you're not in the room. Well, I think when people watch Ed Miliband on TV, what are they saying about him?